Good evening, Sunday night, and it's Sunday night Satsang with John and Michelle.
Hello.
Tonight we're going to talk about consciously creating a new earth, and this sets the theme for the next little while of Sunday Satsangs that we're going to be doing. And the idea is to awaken that true creatorship within us, to create a world that we want to live in. So that's what we're going to be looking at tonight, and we're going to start with a meditation. Do you have anything from an astrological thing to share?
Not much.
A little bit? Okay, great. So we'll have some astrology, and then we'll chat a little bit, and then Michelle will lead us out with, she's got something nice to read, which is very nice, something we came across. So Michelle will read something to us, and then we'll end with another beautiful visualization. So welcome. And just in welcoming you tonight into this satsang, it's also just to realize that as we sit in satsang on Sunday evening, as we do, that we generate a light and a power into the world. So we may be coming along for our own benefit, as Michelle and I do, but at the same time as receiving some sort of healing in our own life, we're actually also part of a group and part of a collective that is part of the healing of the planet Earth. So as you sit with us tonight, just be mindful that this is not only about your own edification or healing, it's also about holding and anchoring a light for the world's healing, for humanity's healing at this time. So, hi Paula, thank you. And if we can just maybe even tell us where you are listening from, where you're connecting from. We'd like to know who we're speaking to. And if you enjoy what we share tonight, we really love getting the hearts, don't we?
We do. And you could share it.
The hearts.
As well.
Yeah, sharing is good. If you can press the share button or the like button, it really does help get the podcast or whatever this is called, Facebook Live, out into the world. So we really enjoy that.
We see you there.
Hello, Heather. Yes.
Welcome.
Hi. So just give us any comments, anything you'd like, any questions you have. We love getting questions. We can't always answer the questions while we're live, but we definitely do get them to them afterwards. So if any questions pop into your mind while we're speaking, just type them up in the comments box, and we might see them or we might answer them later. Yeah. Hello, Diane.
And Christina. Hi,
Christina. Hello,
all the way
Christina.
from the US.
Yes. Hello, Helen, all the way from East London.
Hello,
and
Helen.
all the hearts. Thank you for all the beautiful hearts. Yeah, lovely. Thank you and welcome. So let's just start tonight's satsang by centering ourselves, withdrawing our mind from all the stories that we have about our life and about the world. And we do that generally by gently sitting back in our chairs, making quite sure we've got enough cushions, that we've made arrangements that we won't be disturbed by the world out there for a little while, and gently closing our eyes and just settling into our body. I know for some people they really would like to escape the body, and yet the very peace that we seek is not away from the body but through the body and into the body and down into the body. So let's just do that to start this evening. And one of the tools that we use to help bring our awareness out from all other times and all other places and into the present moment, and to really fully occupy the body, is to use the body's senses. So we just sit with our eyes gently closed, and we focus first of all on the sense of hearing. And we become acutely aware of everything we can hear from our environment. Yes, you can hear my voice, but what else can you hear from your environment around you? So just take a moment to just quietly sit with your eyes closed and just listen. Without necessarily having a whole list of labels or things you can hear, just listen. Just be aware of the sounds. And at the same time of listening to the sounds, I'd like you just to try and become aware of the stillness underneath the sounds. If you can, listen to the stillness, the silence of just this moment. You might become aware of your eardrums. You might become aware of the heart beating, pushing a pressure wave through your eardrums. And that's fine. Just hear all of that. But at the same time, just become aware of the stillness that is aware of all the sounds, that underlies all vibration. Just become aware of that stillness now. And as we sit together in this beautiful satsang, we become aware of our breath as well. And we take a very deep breath into our body, drawing the air all the way in, and then that lovely long surrendering breath out as we sink down deeper into our body with the out breath. Taking another deep breath in with gratitude for this incredible gift of the breath of life, filling our whole body, our whole torso, pushing our tummy out like a big ball, and then releasing it all and sinking down deeper into the present moment as we breathe out, surrendering, surrendering, surrendering. Take a third very deep breath in, taking it right down to your toes now. Become aware of your toes. As you breathe in, take it to the top of your head, so you're blowing yourself up like a big ball, and then that beautiful, long, surrendering breath out, and just sink down once more onto your chair, onto whatever you're sitting on or lying on. And just allow this incredible intelligence called life to breathe you. This intelligence called life is the energy that created your body, that creates your body moment to moment, that will continue to create. It's the same intelligence that grows oak trees from acorns. It's the same intelligence that allows the earth to turn, giving us the perception of sunrise and sunsets. It's the same intelligence that swirls the galaxies, that births the stars. It's the same intelligence that beats our hearts, digests our food. It's exactly the same intelligence called life. And just so for a few moments as we sit quietly in this beautiful, beautiful sea of stillness that underlies all noise, all sounds. As we perceive from the awareness of presence, we give thanks for being part of this incredible, beautiful fabric of existence, woven by life, knowing that each and every moment is perfectly designed for our greatest experience. And the only work we have to do, if you want to call it work, is to experience with as much ease and grace and gratitude as we can, moment to moment to moment, to appreciate life and all the different myriad forms of life, to appreciate this breath that we're taking right now, to appreciate everything we can hear. In this moment, to see you maybe behind your closed eyelids, if you can see any colors, shapes, right in this moment. And as we bring our awareness to our eyelids, we appreciate the fact that we do have eyes. And in this moment we bring our awareness to our hands and the beautiful gift of having hands, fingers, toes. Life is a gift. The present moment is a present, beautiful present from this intelligence called life. So right now we just say a giant big thank you in our hearts for gathering here tonight, having the awareness to value an hour of our time to spend together in Satsang. Giant big thank you to yourself and to life and to this community that we connect with on a Sunday. Take a very deep breath in now, drawing the air right the way down your body to your toes, up to the top of your head, and then let it all out with a big giant sigh, and gently, very gently and softly open your eyes and just see how you feel in this moment. A bit more centered, a bit more empowered with the peace and the joy of life. So thank you for joining us. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thanks, John. It was lovely. Welcome, everybody. Nice to see you. And thank you for joining us again. So we have been chatting to people and we've been chatting with ourselves and talking about what's going on our planet and just seeing that, you know, there's so much going on our planet right now that we can choose where we live. We can choose whether we live in the past or and the part that's broken and breaking further, or whether we can actually move into a new and visualize a new future. And that's really, astrologically, that's what's happening as well. And so I did my full moon thing the other day, and that was really on creating a new earth. So we thought that we'd chat more about that today and just see if we can unpack it a bit more, because much of the world seems to be going in a certain direction, and we're going to sort of make a suggestion about how we can create something new. So astrologically, we've got the sun is about to move into Sagittarius tomorrow, very early in the morning. It's been in Scorpio, and it's sitting right now at 29 degrees Scorpio, which is what we call a critical degree, which is as something moves out of a sign, it often intensifies the energy. So very often, it's been like that today, very often we'll feel that energy even more intensely as it has its last kind of blast before it moves out into another sign. So sun is always where the focus is, and the focus is on transformation, and the focus is on clearing out what we don't need. So that can mean so that we can move into the new, which I'll go into in a second, and that can mean old stuff coming up to the surface so that we can see it. So it can mean the shadow coming up. It can mean old feelings of fear that we might not have dealt with or processed or felt, and holding a space for that, which is what I often refer to as Scorpio, is holding a space for that, for those feelings to arise, so that they can show us where the shadow is, so they can show us where our attention is, and so that they can help us move into something more inspiring, more uplifting, better energy. So that's what's happening right now as we speak with this satsang. And then what's happening sort of the whole year, and then that'll lead into our conversation, I think, is we've got the square between Uranus and Saturn, which is the old versus the new. And we've spoken about that quite a lot, that we are entering into the new, but we're still dealing with the old. So that we're sort of standing in the midst of a shadow and the dying of the old, and envisioning the new. And so that's what we want to chat about. And it's quite sort of in keeping with what's going on tomorrow, because tomorrow the sun moves into Sagittarius, which is a sign that's associated with seeing the bigger picture, visualizing, envisioning, seeing things broader, sort of shooting arrows. It's the sign of the archer who shoots his arrows out into different directions to see where they're going to land. So it's a sort of an outward, it's quite a liberating sign. It's a fire sign, it's a vision sign, it's an intuitive sign. So it's coming out of this kind of sometimes heavy energy of Scorpio and into something new. So it is a little bit like a birth. I always feel Scorpio to Sagittarius is a bit like a birth. It's a little bit like coming out of the cocoon in a way and sort of feeling like you can fly a little bit, feeling like you can see the future a little bit. So that's what we're going to be working with. And then, yeah, that's the main stuff that's going on, I think, astrologically. So you might feel that shift. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Yeah. We, I've never been one to protest, it's not in our nature to do that, but there was a scheduled protest down in Muizenberg Beach on Saturday. Remember the Saturday?
Yeah.
Yesterday. And so we decided to wander down there and go and see what was going on. And it wasn't a big group of people. In fact, the people, I think, were way outnumbered by the police.
By far.
It was quite crazy. It really was. But just listening to the various speakers at the so-called protest that they had there, it was interesting because some people came from, you could feel a deep sense of peace within them. And it was really beautiful. And some people came from a really aggressive sort of angry pushing against the system. And I think that's a choice which we all have. We may not agree with what's going down on the earth right now, and a lot of our freedoms have been restricted. But in fact, the one freedom that we always get in each and every moment, and that is the freedom to choose how we will participate in the world, how we will react to the set of circumstances around us. And it's to understand that the new earth that is in the process of being born at this time, believe it or not, is a function of our consciousness. It always has been. The old world was built on a certain consciousness, and the new earth that's arising now is currently being co-created with our consciousness. And if we carry a lot of resentment within us, a lot of anger within us, then that adds to a certain field of vibration, and all physical matter comes out of fields of vibration. So we might be protesting against something and feeling very angry, but what are we doing? We're feeding the field of anger. And the question we have to ask ourselves is, what world do we want to live in the future? Do we want a world based on anger, on fear, on resentment, on resistance? Or do we want something different?
Yeah, do we want a world based on love and oneness and togetherness? And we kind of experienced both yesterday.
Yeah,
there was both.
We did, yeah,
because there was a feeling of sort of unity on one hand, and then there was a huge feeling of polarity, and it didn't end up very nicely because a whole lot of people got carted off in police vans. So there was definitely, it was really interesting because it was like standing in the midst of people that were unified in just basic human rights, basic freedoms, not specific to any one thing, and then the opposite of that. And so that's what we kind of want to talk about, because that's what we're facing. I think we're all facing, people that are going in different directions to us, and people that have different viewpoints to us. But really, at the end of the day, we're all human beings. And what inspires every single human being, I believe, on the planet is our humanness and our spiritual connection and our connection to each other and our connection to all that is. And it's love. That is what inspires all of it. That's what we all actually want.
Yeah.
So when we focus on the darkness, on everything that's going wrong with the world, that's what we're creating more of. So we just see this as such a crucial time, because it's almost like we can choose what's going to actually come out of this, and where we're going to come out, and that the power actually lies within us, doesn't it? It's not on the outside. It's okay that the people that are doing the protests and putting them together, and the lawyers and the whatever, the people that are fighting the system, great, that's what they do. But I think it's for each of us to just see where our place is in this picture, and to kind of get a sense of what are we feeding in, what are we what are we spending our time focusing on? Are we focusing on the old, or are we focusing on what we want to actually manifest? So it's a tricky one, because we're standing in the middle of some shadowy stuff right now.
And it was so clear on Saturday that some people do hold within themselves a lot of anger, and a protest is an ideal opportunity for them to express that anger. But if it wasn't the protest, it would be something else. If it wasn't the lockdown, it would be something else. If it wasn't the masks, it would be something else. And yet other speakers came from a place of centeredness. They came from a place of connection and community. And some people, for example, who spoke, included the police in a very loving, very community way. They appealed to their humaneness, their humanness. And other speakers saw the police as an enemy. And, it was so obvious which one was going to evoke a positive response. And the one, I believe, that where you see everyone as one, you don't see separation. You see people for who they really are at their core, irrespective of the uniform, irrespective of what their beliefs are. And the other one is, no, there's an enemy out there. There's an enemy that I need to fight. And the fighting mentality will always manifest more fighting in the world. You don't create peace by fighting for peace. You create peace, as Gandhi said, by being the peace you want to see in the world. So this process of creating a new earth is very much immersed in how we feel individually. Each one of us is a brick in the new world. And Eckhart has a beautiful saying. Eckhart Tolle says, awareness is the greatest agent for change. And I believe the first awareness is, how are you feeling? How are you feeling? What is the predominant feeling that you hold within you? Because we know that this field of infinite potential that lies around us in each and every moment is fed by our thoughts and by our feelings. And if we have feelings of resentment, resistance, anger, guilt, anxiety, then that's the world that we're going to feed with that energy, and the same with our thoughts. And we just feel in our discussion that we have a wonderful platform here of the community that we have on a Sunday, the Sunday Satsang community. And we thank you all for participating with us. Mm-hmm. And I would like us to start consciously, while we gather here on a Sunday, consciously creating a new earth, the earth we want rather than the one we don't want. Yeah. There are many podcasts, many speakers talking about how bad the world is and everything that's wrong with the world, and that's beautiful, wonderful, be informed, no problem there. But let's dedicate this one to creating the field that we want to experience in the future, as really a field of connection, of oneness, of community, and to know, which is the one that we did last week, I think, and the week before, on how powerful we all are. We are all powerful beyond measure. And it's to come together with that power, where two or more gathered together, there I am. And so that God creatorship, that infinite energy of creation is here with us right now in this moment.
Yeah, and I think just something else, another sort of theme that's tied into that is, we've spoken a lot about the age of Aquarius, and that we've entered into, or we're entering into the age of Aquarius, because the ages are very long, so it's hard to isolate when it happens. But every sort of age has sort of ups and downs and shadows and all of that. And one of the things that I think we're becoming more aware of is the shadow of Aquarius, which is actually as beautiful as technology, which it's technology, it's technological development. As beautiful as it is, and how wonderful it is that we can be speaking like this on a technology platform, it seems that the world is going more and more that way. So if you look at things like a virtual reality, and we're going to be living in a virtual world, and, well, some people.
New meta world.
It's called meta, if you haven't heard of it. You're going to be, living in a virtual world and having conversations virtually rather than humanly. It's very sort of without heart, without human connection, without the human touch, human looking at somebody in the eyes, that world. And so I think it's really, really important that we maintain those connections, and the connection to nature, to Mother Earth, to Gaia, because that's nature, that's natural. And that because it is going that way, there's going to be huge more technological developments. And the more and more we go that way, we run the risk of actually losing our true human connection, our true spiritual connection, our true heart connection. And so I think it's so vital. It's more vital than anything else that's happening on our planet, that we maintain a connection, a human connection, and a soul connection, a heart connection, that becomes the priority rather than it's a nice to have. Because as I'm going to read you something just now, as this technological thing deepens and gets more and more, AI is becoming more and more, it's huge. More and more of us are sitting on our phones. Some kids have never not had a phone. They've never not had an iPad or a TV. They live their lives through that. And the human interaction, that soul-based interaction is being eroded to a degree. So I think that part of this new vision for a new earth is earth. It's a new earth. Incorporating technology, but not moving away from the organic side of life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
a risk that we take,
yeah,
of moving into more of a robotic kind of environment where we are controlled and we are little robots. And to a degree, we are already controlled by the media, by our phones, by what's coming at us on TV, radio, news. We're controlled. So it's to be able to see it and to be aligned enough to not be sucked into it. What do you think?
There's always energies that are flowing through any age, and the energy that created the old world, that is currently dying, believe it or not, although it doesn't look that way, it is. It is fear. It is fear that has controlled humanity for many thousands of years, and that fear is the acronym for false evidence appearing real. And that false evidence is that I am what I do, I am what I have, and I am what other people think of me. And as far as, that, when we're in that state, we're easily manipulated, very easily manipulated. And so, we get attracted by new shiny things, and technology is new shiny things, and we get absorbed into that. And in the process, we lose our centeredness, we lose our humanity, we lose our beingness. And I believe that it's very easy to be sucked into those worlds because they seem less stressful than the so-called real world.
They're designed they're designed to be addictive.
And they're designed to give you those dopamine hits, which is very, very addictive. But I believe that we need to put the hands on the steering wheel of our own attention and bring our attention back into the real world of caring, of compassion, of connection, of community. That's the real world. And the more we steer ourselves into that real world, the world that's devoid of manipulation and technology, we will grow that new earth. So just project this forward. What is the world you want to live in 10 years' time? Is it to be totally immersed in a meta world where you're really mesmerized by glitter and glamour around you? Or do you want to live in a world of real human touch of care? And I believe that we're sitting right now at a fork in the road. And the choice is, do you want to choose that false evidence appearing real? Promises you everything. If you listen to the advertising for that meta world, it just sounds beautiful, promising us everything. But ultimately, fear does promise you everything, but delivers you nothing. Love, on the other hand, promises you absolutely nothing, but delivers everything of real human value to you. And so the new world, I believe, the world that we would suggest for this community is a world built on this humanness, built on this real heart-centered feeling connection, which technology it can give you pseudo that, but it can never give you this real humanness that we have. And I believe that we do have a responsibility individually, every single one of us have a real responsibility to choose, and to choose very, very wisely as to which world we would like to support.
Yeah, the reality is that robots can't love.
No.
That's it. They just can't.
Yeah.
And they never will be able to.
Yeah.
And that is what we have. That's our gift.
Yeah.
So it's to really, and it's to embrace things like dancing and singing.
Yeah.
And the things that actually bring joy to us.
Which we did last night.
We did last night,
Yeah.
We landed up very, just, what was the word? Just improvisational, just happened.
It's amazing because we had
happened.
such a day of contrast yesterday, didn't we? I mean, we landed up last night and there were just these incredible musicians and everyone danced and the joy was so beautiful.
And different colours, different sizes, from different countries. And everybody was, I think, so relieved that there was some dancing and that there was some music that they could dance.
Yeah.
That it was the most unifying, beautiful, joyful feeling.
Yeah.
And we were just saying how that's been missing, this last year and a half to a large degree, nearly 2 years. So how can we put more of our energy into that, whether it's dancing on our own in the lounge or getting a few friends together and dancing with them or singing with them, or a client of mine the other day said she stopped singing at the beginning of COVID. She loves singing. So I said, well, then start singing.
Yeah, that's joy.
That's what you got to do. Start singing again.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if you're singing on stage or you're singing in the shower. It doesn't matter. Sing. If that's what gives you joy. If being in nature gives you joy. If hugging somebody gives you joy. If painting a picture gives you joy. That's creating the new. As opposed to sitting going, oh my God, what's happening? What's happening? What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Because this is about creating something brand new that we haven't actually experienced yet. Yeah. It's going to be a whole new situation in terms of our money system. And I mean, that's what's going on. It's Uranus, the planet of change, is in Taurus, which is about money, agriculture, food. That's all changing. So what do we want to see? How do we want to see money? Should we even have money? Should we have some other way of actually trading? I don't know. Should we be living in community? It's another theme that's coming in. So I think this is a very important, it is one of the most important things this is going to go down in history books, if there are books left at the end of this. It's going to go down in the history books as, oh my goodness, that was a shifting point for humanity, and where we're going to be in that shift.
Yeah.
And I would say that if you're watching this, then you're on the side of love. If there's a side, it's not a side. But if you're watching this, then I would imagine that that's what you really want for your future, for your grandchildren, for your great-grandchildren. A world where they can be free, to be who they are, to be sovereign, to be creative,
to be real,
to feel, to feel the human side, but to know that we spirit. It's both, and not to be robotic. And with the risk we run right now in our humanity is that we're turning into robots. That's one of them.
Yeah, and the reason we would walk in that path is because of fear.
Yeah.
Fear is incredibly manipulative.
Yeah.
And so people do things that fear drives them to do. And that path is not one we really want to go down. We look at the end of that path, not a pretty one. And whether we live in a world with money or a different money system, whether we live in community or not, is secondary to how we feel about that. So a lot of people are focused on setting up new communities, but ultimately those communities will be a manifestation of how they feel today. So if they feel anxious and angry today, well, those communities are going to amplify that. Same thing about money. If you're very anxious about money and very scared of money, well, whatever comes to replace it will be an amplification of that.
Yes.
So part of what we're going to be doing over the next few weeks is really starting to become very aware of what energy we hold within us that is feeding the creation process, and to be very mindful of, first of all, what it is we want to create, and then be very mindful of the moment to moment bricks and mortar that we are adding to that. And just to recognize one thing here, which is really important, is that this process that we're going through isn't so much a creation process as a co-creation process. We are not left alone. I mean, we are not the sole creator of the universe. We are a co-creator. And so, the universe, life, whatever you want to call it, has a plan. There is an unfoldment. The same way a flower unfolds. It doesn't unfold randomly. This petal has to unfold in order for that petal to come out. We're in the same situation. This awakening of mankind, this awakening of awareness is undergoing it according to a certain blueprint, a certain morphic field. But we are not victims in that. We are co-created because this is the planet of free will. So we do get to choose which world we want to live in. And so, yes, we do get a choice moment to moment to moment as to whether to worship and support the world of fear or support this world of love. And the new earth is being created, and there is a lot of help at this moment to create a beautiful new earth. Beautiful. And there are energies coming in that will seem miraculous in the support that we get for this. But we have to participate in this process.
Yeah, and I think the difficulties that people are experiencing are also part of it, because what's still there within us to be cleared and to be healed is coming up, so that we can clear it and heal it, so we can move into something new without lagging it behind us. Process. But it seems sometimes like you're going backwards, and why aren't I getting it, and why haven't I got this yet, and why am I not enlightened yet? But basically those human things that are coming up are showing us just that we don't need to carry that necessarily.
Yeah.
And we don't need to carry that into the new earth, so that we have a choice. So it's sort of almost like a clearing process. I came across something the other day with a video that I watched, and it was actually an astrologer, and he quoted from John Bloom, who's the General Secretary of the Anthroposophical Society, I don't know how to say that, of America. And he had received an email, and I just thought it was so sort of spot on for what's going on now. So that's, if you don't know, that's Rudolf Steiner's, and Rudolf Steiner was a seer back in the early 1900s.
Yeah, a prophet, yeah.
He was a prophet. He
amazing man.
Kind of prophesied what was going on right now.
Scientist. Yeah.
He was a scientist and a great spiritual teacher.
The Waldorf schools come out of that.
Yeah. So it comes off that same kind of thing. Yeah, he was the founder of spiritual science, a way of organizing societies and economics with spiritual principles involved, without throwing out the soul and the spirit.
Yeah. So although he lived 100 years ago, what he channeled, if you want to put it that way, into this world is truly profound and very, very relevant to the changes that we're going through right now. It's beautiful stuff. So Michelle thought she would read you some of what was in this email.
Yeah.
Go read it.
So it's by John Bloom, and it's basically, he says, he goes into a bit into economics, but that's part of this as well. So while economic life concerns itself primarily with the world of material matters, how we conduct ourselves in that world matters a lot. And economics divorced from human need, the value of relationships, and the earth as a living system, is an economics vulnerable to the shadows of greed, abuse of power, and dehumanization. Witness the profound inequities of the current economy. The expression hard-hearted comes to mind. Such instincts would never normally occur to the human heart, as its constitution is one of service to the health of the whole human organism. Just about any hindrance to the service is associated with illness, and the heart is being concerned as the foundation of human intelligence through scientific inquiry into that which has been long understood in intuitional streams of knowing. If we take the imagination of the heart further, we find that a key capacity of heart intelligence is recognition. The heart could not fulfill its purpose if it operated first and foremost out of judgment, rather than recognition. First it senses or recognizes a need and responds as best it can, and then estimates whether that response was sufficient and adjusts accordingly. Imagine, if you would, an economy that operates on the same selfless principle. How different would life be if we just sensed where there was a need and put our money towards that need? What I'm describing is a heart-centered economy, heart-centered world, one motivated by continuous circulation connection, and caring, and cognizant of each person's dignity and destiny, and more important, an economy where the rediscovery of trust becomes the vital element supporting the circulation and regulation of resources as common co-produced wealth. The realm of money is a topic of another time, but suffice to say, as Rudolf Steiner in 1922, this is interesting, money is like the blood in the circulatory system. Blood is the bearer of life's processes, the currency of the heart. So I just thought that was really an interesting and quite profound email piece.
Did he say anything else here?
No, that was about it. That was what he
The
sent.
main thing.
Yeah, that was the main thing. You know, there was a lot more that Tom talked about in his email, in his thing, but that kind of gave us the gist of it. Yeah. That was it.
Yeah. So this shift that we're going through now, this choosing of a new earth, the old earth was very much centered around the mind. It was about cleverness, manipulation, strategy, the ability to strategize the future and recall the past, and that's on the horizontal line. The new world that's being birthed right now is very much heart-centered. And the heart isn't about manipulation and control. It's about a sense of oneness, its power, its trust in life, not the trust in my ability to accumulate enough wealth to see me into a secure future. That's not what it's about. Trusting life, the same energy that beats your heart in this moment, the same energy that allows you to hear this particular satsang, that enables you to see. That's the energy that comes from the heart. The heart is the seat of a different awareness to the one that comes from the head. The head is about division, it's about labeling, it's about separation. Where the heart is about unity, it's about connection, it's about a sense of wholeness. And that's really what love is. So what Steiner was really about was about bringing us back out of the mind's manipulation into the heart. And that analogy of even looking at money as something that circulates, as blood circulates in our body through the heart. And the economic systems that we have at the moment have pretty much excommunicated heart and love from their systems. It's not about heart, it's not about connection, not about community. It's about manipulation and getting my needs met over and above the needs of the community. And as we shift, as we start to co-create this new world centered on the heart, so our economy will shift to be in alignment with that. We will find new systems of trade that will be in alignment with what is good for the whole, rather than what's good for a corporate or a few individuals, for example.
Yeah, and he also, I mean, he did predict, Steiner did predict that, you know, there was going to come a time when we were going to be faced with choices of becoming robotic or not. And so we've got to be very cognizant of that, because most of his stuff that he's actually spoken about has happened. So I think that's the point that we're standing at right now. You know, do we want to be people on the screen of avatars on a cell phone?
Or in a cell phone.
In a cell phone. Do we want that to be our life? Do we want that to be our children's lives, our grandchildren's lives, our great-grandchildren's lives? Or do we want our great-grandchildren to be playing out in nature, like many of us did when we were kids? To be free, to be sovereign, to be creative, to sing, to dance, to be individual, beautiful beings of light. That's what we want.
And if you just think just along that of a child playing, I mean, my sister just commented there, hello Christine, and you know, I remember both Michelle and I come from Zimbabwe, Rhodesia as it was back then, and my sister also, and I have very fond memories of playing in the mud.
Yeah, me too.
After a rainstorm,
me too.
You know, covered in mud.
Pies.
And what are children today? They're scared of bacteria and viruses. No, you've got to wash your hands and sanitize and
covered in mud.
No, connect with the earth, connect with the intelligence of the earth, and that's, you know, fear versus love, the love of play, the love of the earth, the love of life. Versus, no, you must be scared of life. Life is dangerous.
And sanitize yourself sort of by standing away from life, because it might be dangerous. That's dying before you die.
Yeah, that's right.
And I think that's where we run the risk of dying before we die.
Yeah.
So what if we just live our lives as fully as we can live our lives?
Yeah.
Like yesterday, John, I just said, geez, that was squeezing the marrow out of life, because we had so many different experiences in one day.
Yeah.
And, you know, just involving people and humanity and feelings, and it was exquisite. That's what life's about.
Yeah.
That's what we want to move into, not into a robotized state.
Yeah.
So that's our choice, I believe.
And really the underlying fear that allows many, many people to be manipulated, you know, there are many, many different fears, but the underlying fear is the fear of death. And they say that you can't truly live until you conquer that fear of death. And we can go into that deeper in future satsangs if you like. But in fact, the energy that you are is life. And you can only lose that which you have.
Yeah.
You cannot lose that which you are. It's a complete misperception to think you can lose your life. You cannot lose that which you are. And when you have that realization, not as an intellectual, I hope so, when you have it as an absolute knowing, you cannot be manipulated by the world of fear, the world of false evidence appearing real. And that's when, as Michelle said, you can truly start to live your life. You know, we have this concept that on the one side we have life, and the other side we have death. And that is not true. Life has no opposite. The opposite of death is birth, not life. Life is not the opposite of death, it's birth. And birth and death are part of the human experience. There's nothing to be worried about there. We're born and we die, and life continues. The consciousness which looks through your eyes tonight is eternal. It's always here. It was here in your 5-year-old body. It was here in your 10-year-old body. You know, all those bodies have long since gone. Your 20-year-old body is dead, but you're still here because you are life. You're that which animates the body. And as you start to become aware of that and what it is, it's a realization process that I am the I am. And that's so liberating as you do that, so you can support the new earth based on love rather than that false evidence appearing real. I am my body, and I've got a lot of dangers around me that I've got to protect myself from. And that is false. That is absolutely false. Yes, it is wise to be cautious in life, but it's not wise to shut yourself off and close yourself down. And it is fear that does that. Absolute fear. So this new earth, and we're going to be talking about this over the next few weeks, I've said, and we're going to be exploring the concept of love. What is love? What is life? And what is this new earth that you get to vote for by every thought you think and every feeling you feel? Because I believe that we're all going to see it, well, we're already seeing it to a certain extent, that there are many different worlds that we all occupy. And each one of us is creating our own little world. Your neighbor might be experiencing a totally different reality to you. But as you focus on this beauty, on the love, on the connection, so you'll find automatically around you, life will give you the support you need in that moment.
And we don't have to separate ourselves, even if we have different opinions.
Yeah.
Even if we're making different choices. Doesn't matter. We're still human. We're still sharing the earth. We're still a family. A family of humans. And so it's to be able to speak about it. Speak about our differences. Speak about our different... And I find that people are scared to speak about it. Because they might upset somebody, or, you know, maybe that's what we need to do. We need to speak more about it. Oh, you've got that opinion. That's interesting. I've got this one. Interesting. So as opposed to polarizing ourselves from each other and being scared to speak about it. Because that's, again, it's shutting us down. So it's about opening. Again, that whole thing comes with opening as opposed to shutting. Because the energy of this is very restrictive, very closing, very, it's restrictive. And the opposite of that is the opening, is the freedom. So it's where we choose to actually focus. Are we going to choose to focus on feeling like we shut down, or are we going to just say what we need to say in a loving way, in a compassionate way? You don't have to agree with me, but that's where I am. And then that opens conversation as opposed to shutting it down, because that's another thing that's happening. So we've got to be the ones that do that. somehow.
To open up conversation.
To open up conversation.
And the biggest power we have within us is to choose to become conscious of every thought we think and every feeling we feel, and to become aware of, is this walking in the direction of love, or is it walking in the direction of fear? And you'll find that condemnation and judgment, that fits very much in the basket of fear, where connection, community, understanding, allowing comes in the basket of love. And just to end off before you do the meditation, once again, just remember that we are in a voting process right now. Every single thought you think and every feeling you feel is a vote for a new world that you want to live in, you want your children to live in, and you want your grandchildren to live in. Just be careful of how you vote. Be aware of the energy that you're feeding into the co-creation process.
Yeah. Thanks, Tom.
Are you going to give us a nice...
What it's going to be, but yes.
Okay. Good, and then we've got a good affirmation for you to help you through the week ahead. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so just taking a deep, beautiful belly breath in, all the way in, and all the way up to the top of your lungs, and then release it all the way out. And then another beautiful breath in, expanding your belly as you breathe in and bringing the breath all the way up to the top of your lungs, and then on the out breath, drop your shoulders and let it all go. And a third breath in, breathing all the way in, and then sigh it out on the out breath. And soften your body and open your body. When I say open, soften. Put your shoulders back. Rest your hands in your lap, wherever they are. And open your heart. Open. So the opposite would be restricted and closed. This is an opening. So consciously open. By softening, by releasing, by surrendering. And just feel into any energy that you're holding anywhere in your body which is resistant or tight, even painful. And send your breath into that energy, into that area, and consciously let it go. Soften even more. So if you can drop in even more, soften even more. Open even more. Connecting in with anything that's been coming up for you, which you would like to release as we exit Scorpio. Any old patterns, any old conditioning, any old habitual responses, reactions, any fears, anxieties. Just connect with whatever's coming up for you. Acknowledge it. Open more to it. And then release it as if you were going to release a balloon up into the sky. Just release it in this moment. Holding a space for whatever needs to arise in this moment. Knowing that you have the power to feel it, the strength to feel it, and also that you have the choice of not holding on to it and letting it go. And now connecting with a beautiful memory, possibly, of a time where you felt joy, you felt light, you felt expansive. Get a sense of where you were, who you were with, what you were doing. Make that memory as vivid as you can. Bring to your awareness the smells, the sounds, what you could see, what was around you. And feel the feeling that you felt in your body. Feel that feeling now. Open to that feeling. Let that feeling grow inside you. You might find yourself smiling. You might find yourself giggling. You might find yourself feeling lighter, more joyful, more open. Allow that feeling to expand and grow. This feeling of you being completely connected in the moment, enjoying the moment, in joy of this moment, in gratitude of this moment, and bring it into the present. And setting the intention to connect with this feeling. If you find yourself going into the darkness or the past or the future, if you can connect with this feeling. With the power of your imagination, visualize the way you want to feel in the new earth. Visualize it, feel it. And allow this feeling right now that you are holding inside you, connecting in with your heart. Allow this feeling to just ripple out into the world. You might want to imagine that we're all standing around the world, holding hands, with this beautiful feeling inside us, and rippling it all over the planet, radiating it out to every being, every plant, every animal, to all our coastlines, to the young and the old, to our leaders, to our children, every sentient being. Radiating our heart light, our joy. And by so doing, being part of co-creating this new earth. And just connect with your heart. Take a beautiful deep breath in. Right into the middle of that beautiful heart and release. And then another deep breath in and out. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes.
That's beautiful. It's lovely. And to remember that joy is the kryptonite for the old world. It's the kryptonite for fear. Joy.
It is.
Beautiful.
Indeed.
Yeah, thank you. That was really nice.
Good.
Wasn't that nice? Did you enjoy that? Just give us your comments. We love getting the hearts, the thumbs up. And if you valued what we've shared tonight, can you share? Can you press the share button, the like button and the share button?
That helps.
That helps.
That's your role in this as well. That really helps.
Yeah.
Just to get it out there.
And as I said earlier, any questions or queries, type them up as well. And we have an affirmation for you. What's tonight's affirmation?
We do. This one. I release all that no longer serves me and step into the new that's waiting for me.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's very apt for right this
Yeah.
moment. So I release all that no longer serves me and step into the new that's waiting for me.
I'll photograph that and put it on our Facebook page. So thank you for being. Thank you for all the hearts. It's really beautiful. Hi, Linda.
Thank you.
Paula, thank you.
Cheryl,
Beautiful.
thank you.
Thank you all for joining us.
Yeah.
And we look forward to catching up with you next Sunday.
Have a beautiful week and keep connecting in with that feeling.
Yeah. Feed the feeling you want, not what you don't want.
Yes.
All right. Love you all. Thank you for joining us and sharing your light with us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for all the hearts. It's
And our
really
soul
beautiful.
family.
Yeah. Nighty night.